What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the stream. And as you'll notice with the record there, we are far past the trade deadline, which is a little past when I usually do this episode. But I got kind of amped up playing with this team this season. I got to be honest, I was having some fun playing this year. I actually jumped into quite a few games this year, really near the tail end of July. I made some moves right after the All-Star game, and you can see we kind of popped off right after that. So I'm going to start this episode by recapping some of those moves. So first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to attack my bullpen a little bit. I was a little bit unhappy specifically with what I was getting in some long relief roles. So I went and I got Tyler Wells from the Baltimore Orioles. So he's got some pretty decent hits per nine and base on balls per nine, decent enough stamina to work that long relief role. And from him, I traded Alexander Vizcaino and Bryce Bonnin. I was pretty disappointed to see how Bryce Bonnin had kind of crashed and burned the last 2 years. And Vizcaino really hadn't been performing up to par like I had hoped. So I flipped them for Tyler Wells, who is on an expiring contract, about to hit free agency. So I think the Orioles got a couple of good guys. Let's see, did they get those two guys into their... Yeah, so Vizcaino... he's kind of settled down a little bit from, those are a little bit better numbers than we had when he was pitching for us. So he's slotted right into their starting rotation, and then Bryce Bonnin for them, still kind of struggling, although I think his ERA was actually over 8 when he was on our team. So both guys seem to be improving as well for the Orioles. So I was pretty happy. Tyler Wells really kind of shored up our bullpen, gave us some nice long relief guy that we could rely on, and should be a nice bullpen piece for us in the playoffs. As you'll see, also, I went out and got Luis Severino. Asa Lacy has had a pretty bad year. And I felt like if I could get one more high-end starter, I would love my rotation going into the playoffs. So you see, I got guys 89, 88, and 87 overall, and then Bobby Miller at 82 overall, and Brian Bello at 80 overall. So I really wanted one more really solid starting pitcher. So he was playing for the Diamondbacks. Severino, you see the ERA there at 3.5. His FIP has not been great, but his component ERA is good. I'm pretty happy with what I've got. His ERA was like 4.5 when I picked him up, but he had a good whip. He's actually dropped the whip down another 1/10 of a point about, and he's dropped his ERA down a whole point. So pretty happy with that. I traded to the Diamondbacks Steve Palmer, who was our first-round draft pick, I think 2 years ago, first baseman. He hadn't been killing it for us, but he has like 88 potential or something like that, so pretty good get for the Diamondbacks. I sent them Guillermo Leon, who is just a relief pitcher to kind of close out the whole deal. And then another big piece I sent them was actually Carson Taylor, because the Diamondbacks don't have a young catcher on their roster. And honestly, I was kind of sad to see Carson Taylor go, because I loved what he's been giving us as a backup catcher, but he's just a backup catcher. I really can't use him because of what I'm getting out of Alejandro Kirk. I signed him to that extension, so I was pretty happy to move. I was pretty willing to move Carson Taylor. Kind of sad because you see what he's been able to do, but happy to see the kid go and get his full-time role. Seems like he's done pretty well since he has shifted over there as well. So also looking at our lineup, one thing I wanted to improve a little bit was I wanted a lefty bench bat, somebody that could kind of fill in for what Nick Gordon was, but a little bit better, maybe a little bit more contact. And I went on and I got Adam Frazier, who's got better contact numbers and pretty similar power numbers to what Nick Gordon had as a lefty bat off my bench, and a little bit more positional versatility. I see the season numbers for Adam Frazier pretty solid there with the slash line. What's his total WAR on the year? So 2.4. He was in a regular everyday role with the Atlanta Braves, but I brought him in to be a bench guy, be kind of not a platoon guy, but more of like a utility player for us. I know we have Espinal, but he's a righty. So I was happy with what I was able to get from Adam Frazier. I needed a backup catcher after I traded Carson Taylor, because I don't love my options below him. And I went and I got Sam Hoff. Nothing too crazy. You see the batting numbers haven't been great, but not too bad. A guy with some pretty good power numbers. You see 66 and 69 for the power numbers, and a little bit better defensively than Carson Taylor, actually. So Hoff, not been killing it for us since we picked him up, but he's a decent role player coming off the bench. So I'm not too disappointed with that. And for the Braves, we started off by sending them Jose Ramiro, who's a 19-year-old catcher that we drafted, I believe, 2 years ago as well. Same draft that we took Steve Palmer. He's nothing too crazy. He's only about 74 overall, but he's got really high contact numbers here. Let's see if we can jump over to the Atlanta Braves real quick to see if he's down there. No. So I guess they sent him back to single A. I don't know why. Oh, he's injured right now, actually. So you see the numbers on the year, not too bad for him. The power numbers aren't great, but the guy takes a lot of walks, and he's got crazy good contact numbers. So this is a pretty decent catcher. They needed a long-term young catching option. Anyways, I also sent them Francisco Batista, one of our international free agents. As you see, he's actually picked up the average since we traded him, and he's been taking his walks and he's sent for power. So kind of sad to see our first international free agent, one of our first, let me say that again. Kind of sad to see an international free agent from that class go, but hey, you know what? We got a lot of good first basemen in the system. Not too upset to be dealing him, especially when we can get a return for like Adam Frazier, somebody that can really help shore up our bench. And then the final guy we sent is Brian Medina, who is not having a very good year at AAA, but he has 79 potential, got some pretty nasty stuff. But I'm pretty happy with what we've got for our pitching depth, so I wasn't too disappointed to trade him away. And then the final guy I traded was Nick Gordon. Since I just acquired Adam Frazier, I didn't have a need for Nick Gordon. Really kind of stupid to send him down and not capture on some value for him. So I sent him over to the White Sox, who have J.P. Crawford at shortstop, but they don't have a good second baseman there. I have a young guy here in Jose Rodriguez, but he has not been playing very well. And Nick Gordon kind of can help him fill out that second base role. You see the season that he's been having, obviously not taking his walks, but everything else is pretty in gear. Let's see, did they actually put him into their lineup? I would hope so. Let's see. Nope, they did not put him in their lineup. Where is he? Did they? Am I missing him? Wait. What? Wait, where is he? I'm kind of stupid right now. I did not see. Was he in? No. Why did I not see him? Is he playing in left field or something? Is that why I didn't see him? Nick Gordon. I don't see Nick Gordon. Why am I? Oh, he's right there in front of my face. That's why I didn't see him. So he's in the DH spot. Well, anyways, they're getting some use out of him. So for him, we didn't get anything too crazy. We just picked up a left-handed pitcher by the name of Brock Selvage, who actually for us has been pitching pretty well at single A. He's got 79 potential, so he's the same as I basically exchanged Brian Medina for him. So not too happy with that. Like having another lefty around. Yeah, decent enough makeup, so I'm pretty happy with that. So that is going to cover our trade deadline moves. As you can see, we are sitting very pretty at 93 and 56. That is going to be the best record in the American League, and it is going to be the second best record in baseball, a game behind the Giants, of all people, sitting there at 20th rank. But that's enough of the Major League squad right now. We are at the end of the AA season, so let's go check out how some of our prospects are doing. So Alejandro Salazar did get off to a pretty hot first half of the season, but he kind of cooled off down the stretch. But I do love some of the gains that he was able to get across the board. He's up to that 67 overall going into his age 23 season. John Pearson, we were able to get him into the AA for some playing time, and that's not too bad returns. We'd like to see a little bit more out of the bat, but that's not too bad. Dylan Medina was awful. I'm surprised he didn't drop overall because that is just a piss poor season from him. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Manuel Vasquez also was not very good. So you see our hitting prospects from that international free agent class have not paid off. Victor Leon, our first round draft pick from a couple years ago, pretty good growth across the board except for that contact lefty department. Don't love the numbers in the season, but we'll look to see if we can get him on the fast track starting next season. And that's all I want to talk about for hitters there. Checking out the pitching rotation. Fernando Arias, you see the whip, what it is, crazy strikeout numbers, but of course struggling with those walks, over 100 walks. Yeah, so we'll put him in AAA next year. Hopefully he can try to figure it out because he's kind of stunting his growth a little bit. And those walks are going to be awfully concerning. He may be relegated to a full-time bullpen role if he cannot figure it out. Leo Cedeno, one of our draft picks, actually our first-round draft pick from last year, he had a very good season at AA, so I'm very excited for him. Really good. You know, we took a chance with him by drafting him, and over some of those other blue chip prospects. Okay, sorry, I'm back, guys. I had to take care of something real fast. So, yeah, we took a chance by taking Leo Cedeno over some of those blue chip prospects, but seems like he's paying off pretty well early. Another draft pick from that class, Garrett Donnellan, looks like he's pretty good. I actually pitched with both of these guys in a minor league game, and they both got some pretty nasty stuff, so I'm excited about both of them. And then nothing really too much to speak of in the bullpen slot there. So, we are going to take this to the end of the AAA season, and let's go to it. So, all right, we're just going to keep him active. Kevin Mate is injured. We're just going to leave him on the bench when he comes back. Okay, Santiago Espinal, we'll leave him there. Benzini. Oh boy, we got a lot of injuries. All right, well, let's simulate this last one here. Okay, and there it goes. And you see that we did push Luis Aguayo into the pitching rotation, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let us check out some of the hitters. So Max Schrock, he's not a prospect, but I really love what he did. I might bring him back as that lefty depth. I might take him off the 40-man roster so I don't have to worry about passing him through waivers again next year, but really good season at AAA for us. Buford Grant was up and down. He finished the season down, but overall, decent growth. Love the growth and the power, but the contact not progressing how we would hope. Miguel Blyce overall had a great season at AAA. Kind of disappointed he only gained, I think, like 3 overall because those numbers are great. He's going to be 23 next year, so we're kind of running out of time to get that rapid growth, but really love how his bat has progressed throughout this franchise. We did push Leandro Rojas, who had been struggling mightily at AA, into AAA, and actually got some pretty good returns at AAA, so I'm excited about that. We'll see how he can do in a full-time role there next year. Davison De Los Santos, he picked it up as the season went on. Overall, numbers not great, but pretty good down the stretch, pretty happy. Sagasti, this is a guy we're looking at for some catching depth. He had a pretty decent season, but he cooled off at the tail end of the season. David Arellano cooled off significantly after our draft episode. Overall, I love the growth with the +7 and the contact right. He got some power numbers against the righties as well. He's already got great defensive numbers. I'm just worried about him being able to hit lefties. I don't want him to turn into a platoon player. Still got hope for him because he's only 21 years old. He's already 73 overall. So still could get big things out of him, but he's got to pick it up next year to really show that I have confidence in. Diane Jorge, we did push into AAA. Not great returns to AAA, but you see he got that that potential bump to B. He was killing it at AA. Really, really great season for him. Not too worried about what his AAA numbers were because of how good he was at AA. So, Daryl Francisco, power numbers are great, but not taking enough walks, not hitting for enough average. Definitely going to keep him around because he's got some pretty good abilities as a left-handed hitter, so I like that. Kevin Mate picked it up. I'd love to see the power numbers to be better, honestly. If he wants to break into the majors, he's going to have to hit for some more power than that because he's not like he's a crazy contact or crazy speed guy. So, switching over to the pitching rotation, we talked about Brock Selvage a little bit. Maddox Bruns had a pretty good year. Bruns, I think I'll get him onto the, he's already on the 40-man roster. Don't think he'll be in consideration for a rotation spot early next year, but definitely somebody we want to monitor. Adonis Medina, he pitched pretty well. I actually have a gameplay I might consider uploading. I'm already way past it. Might just upload it just to show the domination that he was because, I used him in a AAA game and he was just straight filthy. So I'll probably bring him back next year for some depth as well. Derek Leonard, decent performance. He doesn't have tons of potential, but I like what I could get out of him. And then Luis Aguayo had a good year at AA, but AAA was not good. That's okay. He's only 20 years old. We'll see what he can do in his age 21 season. Another great season out of Felix Villa. I don't know what his potential is, but he's been very good for us out of the bullpen in a long relief role, so I'm pretty happy with what he's given us. Richie Gallegos had a phenomenal year at AA. Don't pay too much attention to some of those growths. I did give him some growth overall growth because I switched him from starting pitcher to relief pitcher. So by doing that, I auto bump up some of the per nine numbers as well. So he's going to be 25 and he's only 66 overall, but I really like what this guy could possibly bring for us as a future bullpen role. Might take him another year or two to break into the majors, but he's got some good stuff. Ronnie Collado, he had a good tail end of the season. He was very bad for a long time, but he was able to settle down and ended up with a pretty decent season. He'll be looking to possibly be in a bullpen role next year. David Ramirez is a lefty that we acquired, I think, from the Nationals. he had a pretty good season at AA, and then his AAA numbers were good as well. Dylan Coleman, Pachu, and Weems were all depth guys, although I was pretty happy with what I got out of Weems, so I might bring him back as a depth guy next year. So, all right, let us finish up this season. We have a 9.5 game lead on the Los Angeles Angels. We are going to lock up the AL West. It's all going to come down to what else we can accomplish, though. Can we be a top seed in the AL? I believe we will. So let's see. And then the last game here, we will simulate, and we get an 8-1 victory. So we finished the season with an even 100 wins, 162. Let's go check out how some of the guys did. So checking out the lineup, guys aren't very hot. They were hot there a minute ago, but let's see. So Jonathan Indy, he did finish with the on-base percentage above 400. He was teetering so close to it all year. I wanted him to get it, and he got it. Yeah, that's a baller season. I don't know why he lost overall, because that's an insane season at the plate. I love that. Great OPS. Final WAR of 4.3, which is surprising because it was less than last year. Why? I don't know, but whatever. I'm okay with it. Jonathan India, that's what we paid for. As you see, he's going to start becoming cheaper and cheaper as the seasons go on, and man, I hope he keeps it up like this. So Brian Reynolds, another outstanding season. He was actually in the MVP discussion. You see with the 8.1 WAR there. We'll check this in a minute to see if he still was. He was third in the MVP conversation. Don't think he had any chance to really win it, but really great season from him. Pete Alonso, up and down on the year. I can handle that average with a slugging percentage being what it is and a great on-base percentage, so pretty happy with what I got out of Pete Alonso. Ian Happ, the power number's I don't love it's a 190 because he's supposed to be a pretty decent power hitter, but overall pretty happy with what Ian Happ was able to give us. Michael Busch, still not getting the power out of him with that 160 ISO, but the man takes walks like nobody else, and 290 average. I can't complain. I shouldn't complain. I should just shut up right now. This is a great season from Michael Busch. Love to see that. He was a DH all year, so for the WAR to be 2 is pretty good. Willie Adames had a great year. Had that slugging up over 500 at one point, but that's okay with what he ended up with. Gunnar Henderson, he was having a very good season, but he slipped a little bit in the last month and a half of the season. But again, that's a pretty solid year. Don't love how his walk numbers slipped from last year and his K numbers took a jump. But overall, pretty good year. I'm happy with what we're getting out of the youngster so far in his career. You see the plus 11 jump to his contact left, so that's pretty promising. Alejandro Kirk, another boss of a season. You see the slash line there. That's pretty good. And then Jarren Duran in the platoon was just insane. He definitely had struggles against left. You see the power number slipped -10, which is what kept him from growing even more in his overall. But man, the dude hit righties like nobody's business. So really happy out of that. Elliot Ramos was not that good. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I might keep him this year if I decide to trade Hap for money reasons, or I might trade him. I don't know. I love his makeup. I just don't know why he can't seem to figure it out at the plate. It's kind of frustrating. So John Birdie we had in the majors for speed purposes. It looks like the game did not use him very much for that. I'm going to try to have him on the playoff roster for those speed reasons because we could use that. Sam Huff didn't do that much for us, as you can see the numbers there. Hoping for more out of him next year because he's definitely got a lot of time left for service. Adam Frazier was what we had hoped coming over. And then Santiago Espinal had a great year. I mean, look at that slash line. That's reminiscent of that 2024 season. That's what we love to see. I don't think I'll bring back Espinal after this year because I'm going to need to clear some cash, but hopefully we can win a title with the man on the roster. I'd be really happy to get that done. So that covers all of the hitters. Let's check out the pitching rotation. You see Grayson Rodriguez, another ace-like season, 3.49 ERA, the FIP right there at 3.26. So great season out of him. I love what Grayson Rodriguez is doing for us. Trevor Rogers, ERA is still kind of elevated, but the FIP is pristine, so I'm not going to worry about that. Luis Severino was everything we could have asked for and more. Bobby Miller finished on a cold streak, but honestly, he had a pretty good year. The FIP is not great, but the component ERA is good. His biggest issue is he gives up too many home runs. I mean, you see the strikeout and walk numbers on point. The hit numbers are great, but he just gives up too many home runs. But yeah, he's still got some overall left to grow, so hopefully we can get that overall growth in the home run per 9 department so he can really kind of settle in, but overall pretty happy. Brian Bello, good and bad. The FIP under 4 is good to see. The home run numbers are solid. The base on balls could be better, but not bad. The hits per 9s are okay. mixed bag from him. I can't complain too much. I'm going to love having him. He's going to be in the bullpen for the playoffs, so got to be happy bringing 99 plus out of the bullpen. So I've considered moving him to a full-time bullpen role just because of his filth, but I don't know. Some decisions to make in the offseason. I might give him another chance in the rotation. Because honestly, it's not that bad of a season. I'd love to see the whip be a little bit lower, but yeah, not too bad. Tyler Wells is what we paid for. Keegan Aiken looks like he got hit a little bit harder in the second half of the season. I put him into a long relief role, so that's probably why he got hit a little bit more. Yeah, FIP is still pretty good. Not quite sure. He must have given up quite a bit of hits, and he did because his Zs per 9 are not that high. So overall, still been pretty happy with what I've gotten out of Keegan Aiken and along as a lefty reliever. Kyle Nicholas, not too bad. He's more of a middle rotation guy, so decent numbers out of him. Yohan Ramirez took a step back, which is a little bit concerning. His based on both numbers, just out of nowhere. Overall, the FIP was pretty good, so I'm not too concerned about him. But yeah, I hope that's not a sign of things to come because I'm hoping to get one more solid season out of him before he hits free agency. Bryce Miller, another guy in our bullpen with a decent FIP. As you can see, we've got guys in the bullpen who can do some things, but they haven't been overly dominant. Abner Uribe, obviously those walks were a little bit of a concern with a 6.15. Home run numbers are okay. You see the strikeout numbers are just off the charts. 3.5 5.3 FIP. So Abner Uribe, pretty good season for him. As we talked about Asa Lacy, he did settle down in that bullpen role, but his biggest issues, walks too many guys, gives up too many home runs. That is a bad combination. What's his hits per 9? Yeah, he's giving up too many hits. So I'm probably going to give him another shot in the rotation next year just because I like his stamina. He's got good Ks per 9. He had a great 2025 season, so I'm not willing to give up on him quite yet, but this year was not very good. Aaron Bummer, truly some great stuff out of the bullpen. The ERA was great, but the FIP wasn't, so it's a little bit concerning going into the playoffs. The strikeout numbers just disappeared for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but still pretty good for us. And then Alex Reyes gave up more than a hit per inning, which is so weird for him, but he was able to pitch a lot better in the second half. More of those struggles came in the first half of the season. Walk numbers could be better, but he doesn't have great per 9 numbers there. FIP was decent, so pretty happy to have him in our closer's role going forward. So, all right, let us sim to the postseason, and we can check out some of the awards, and then we'll get out of here. This video is getting a little longer than I'd hoped, but okay. We are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Okay, this is going to be a tough game because the Angels are a tough squad. They took down the Tampa Bay Rays for that, and then the San Francisco Giants took down the Milwaukee Brewers. So let us go check out some of the awards. We did get some. So Brian Reynolds won a Gold Glove in center field. Okay, he had a pretty good defender, so I'll take that. So the American League, let's check out MVP. So the American League was Mike Trout, no surprise there, and yet we weren't able to break through with Brian Reynolds here, but Mike Trout, you see how good he is. The Trout is a machine. National League, Luis Robert, who is on the Dodgers. Pretty good season from him. All right, let's check out the Cy Young, Brandon Woodruff. Trevor Rogers finished third in the voting, though. Don't know why. Oh, his FIP was really good. Maybe that's why they're giving him some credit for that. Walker Buehler for the National League. Batting title, Shohei Ohtani with a 3.35 ERA. Xander Bogaerts at 3.29. Reliever of the year, Jorge Alcala, Camilo Doval. Rookie of the year, Clayton Beeter, Ronnie Henriquez. Ugh, man, give that to Jack Leiter instead. Leiter definitely deserved that over. Why? Oh, that's just weird. Hank Aaron Award, Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani for the National League, and that is it. So, yeah, that's going to be it. So how I'm going to explain how the playoffs are going to go. I am going to play one game and quick manage one game and then make sure that I play elimination games. So I'm probably going to play... Yeah, I'll probably play this first one and then I'll quick manage the second one. And then we'll go from there. So, yeah. I hope you all enjoyed this wrap-up episode, and I hope you all are ready for this postseason. I am ready to take home that hardware. What about y'all? So, anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day whenever you see this. And in the meantime, between time, I'm gone. Deuces.